Hey guys, we've been getting a lot of questions about freezing and the winter weather coming up, so wanted to make a quick video about what we know, what we don't know, what we suggest, and what that does to your unit and your warranty. So, full disclaimer, we launched in February of 2023, so we've not been through the heart of winter yet. Also, we're in Texas, so freezing and cold weather isn't it's hard for us to test, and it's not something that is affecting us day to day. So we still have quite a bit to learn as far as that goes. But we have talked to quite a few customers and people who have similar cold plunges that use a pump and circulation and everything up in the north where it gets colder. And so most of this is feedback from them and kind of what we know so far. So first off, the potential risk of freezing is when water freezes, it expands. So in the tub itself, it is highly unlikely the water will freeze, but in the hoses and the pump, the filter, and the chiller that are external to the tub, those are the more vulnerable components to freezing. So when water freezes and expands, if it does that inside the pump, filter, or chiller, it can expand, freeze, expand, and crack the internal components. So that would break those components and cause them to need to be replaced. So that's what we're trying to avoid, is really to protect the external hoses and components from freezing that causes expansion that damages the internal components. What we know so far is flowing water is much harder to freeze than stagnant water. Maybe that seems obvious, but what that means is you need to keep your pump running 24/7. So there's always good water flow. And then you need to keep your filters fresh. So you need to change those regularly so they're not inhibiting flow, because then water's not going to be flowing through the chiller, which could cause it to freeze inside the chiller. So keeping your filters fresh and the pump flowing are extra important during cold weather. Some other things we know is that the chiller is A, the most expensive component, and B, the most vulnerable to freezing. So that's the component that we mainly want to protect. Um, yeah, much beyond that, as far as when will it freeze and the freezing points and stuff, we don't have perfect answers for that. We haven't tested it. We haven't been through a winter yet. But in talking to people up north, they've generally said with good flow, I mean, it's going to take a lot to freeze. So I'd say extended periods below freezing with really harsh weather. But again, those exact cutoff points and when it'll freeze, I don't know for certain. So a couple of things that we offer to help mitigate against freezing in the cold is the chiller bypass hose. So this connects the filter directly back into the tub, bypassing the chiller so that you can bring the chiller inside to protect it during the winter or cold weather. Some notes on this: this does not prevent freezing. All it does is allow you to protect the chiller, so if there is freezing, the chiller won't be damaged. Another thing about this is the pump generates heat when it's running. So the risk, if you use the chiller bypass hose, is that the water will get too warm because the pump is generating heat and it won't be able to maintain that cold temperature. However, we offer it because a lot of customers have asked for it. It is a good way to bring your chiller inside during the winter to protect the most expensive and vulnerable component. Next, we offer a heat option. So this, you can set it to kick on when the water gets below a certain temperature. That way it'll prevent freezing. So you can set it to 37 degrees. So if the water gets below 37, the heater will kick on to heat it up to there. This will prevent freezing, but you have to have flow. The same thing I said about flow earlier is still applicable. The heater won't run if it doesn't have good flow. And if the flow is being inhibited, then that warm water won't get to the chiller or these components to keep that water from freezing. So that's kind of what we know so far, the things that we offer right now to mitigate against freezing in the cold weather. As far as your warranty, it is the customer's responsibility to protect their unit from freezing. So damage caused by freezing or cold weather is not covered under warranty. And as we learn more, we're going to be communicating it because we want to keep everyone's units up and running throughout the winter. But that's what we know about freezing and cold weather as of now. Thanks.